Welcome to my Common Sense Living podcast, where I'm going to add common sense and value to your life. So today, I'm going to talk about human potential. I came across this article on the internet and thought it was a good one. So I don't remember who wrote it, but I did tweak it to fit my style. So how to live to your highest potential. Are you living to your fullest potential? Each one of us has an amazing potential and a real opportunity to make a difference in the world, but not everyone realizes this within their lifetime. If you'd like to start living your best life and discover how you can step into your unique power, try these 6 powerful steps. Rid yourself of internal excuses. We've all listened to that little voice in our head at one point or another that says something like, good things don't happen to me, or I'm not smart enough. The truth is, excuses are irrelevant and unnecessary, and they only hold us back from achieving what we want. Stop letting your own excuses get in the way. Next time you hear that negative voice in your head, immediately replace it with a positive statement of encouragement. And number 2 is ask for it. Creating the life you desire also means being able to ask for what you want. First, you need to identify just what you want. Don't be afraid to vocalize your needs. You'll be surprised at how often these people will respond positively to you when you honestly and clearly communicate what you want. How can anyone help you if they are unaware of what you need? Number 3 is realize your dreams can become your reality. No matter how big or small your dreams are, you must believe that you can achieve them. Continually inspire yourself by reading stories of people who rose above all obstacles to achieve their dreams, and remind yourself that just as these other people have done it, you can too. Number 4 is have an open mind and seek out new perspectives. A lot of opportunities pass people by because they're stuck in a limited pattern of thinking. Having an open mind is the first step to reaching your potential. Seek new opportunities and push the boundaries of your mind. Doing this will help you to discover your unique talents and hidden strengths. Set out a simple plan is the 5th one. Create a goal-setting approach that works for you. Keep yourself accountable. Each week, decide what you want to achieve and try to stick to it as closely as possible. Keeping a record of your progress will help you stay on track and focused. And then finally, take action. You'll never reach your full potential if you continue to live the exact same life that you are living today. To be different, you have to act differently. Living up to your full potential requires that you step out of your comfort zone and go after what you really want. What are you waiting for? Don't start living up to your potential tomorrow. Do it today, even if it means you're cutting short your lunch break or skipping your favorite TV program. Actually, put these steps into action and start being the person you want to be, the person you were meant to be. I'm not what I want to be. I'm not what I'm going to be, but thank God I'm not what I used to be. My own personal journey, it's still evolving. I was at a meeting one afternoon. After sharing some pleasantries, the young woman next to me, she said she had an opportunity she thought I needed to do. It sounded intriguing, something I had never done before, but a bit pricey. Yet I love to learn, so I gave it some thought and finally expressed the interest that I'll do it. That was in November of 2021. March of 2022, I began a new chapter in my life. I am about to give my first public speech. I got up on that stage and began speaking, and when shortly thereafter, I froze. My mind went blank. I was humiliated, embarrassed, just wanted to disappear, melt into that stage. It's said that public speaking is the most feared thing in the world. At a funeral, people would rather be in the casket than behind the podium. It's that great of a fear. So I beat myself up for 2 weeks. Then it happened. I kicked that old girl out of my life, and her confident twin took over. I changed my hairstyle and clothes as well as my attitude. You see, that little girl in me remembered in her childhood being told by my dad, children are to be seen and not heard. So I had buried my voice. I became shy and felt unworthy. I'm sure my dad had no intention of his words having that effect on me. In fact, I wanted to be a radio personality, TV personality, even a weather forecaster, because I wanted to talk. So 5 months later, I again spoke on stage. This time, I shined. What remarkable transformation. 2 hours after my speech, I was asked to be the MC of an upcoming conference. And a couple months later, I went to Denver for another event. Hold on, I'm not done yet. That same year, in 2022, I launched my Common Sense Living podcast and wrote my first book on spiritual experiences. And this is my book, Heaven Sent, Listening to Your Inner Voice. Okay. My first book about my many spiritual experiences. I was 72 years old and in 9 months accomplished these goals. And I'm still not done yet. I've already written and submitted a chapter for an anthology scheduled to be released January of 2024, and have another speaking engagement in June this year in Colorado and another one in San Antonio in September. I have thought, what if I had said no to that offer in November of 21? I would be left with a what if I woulda, coulda, shoulda. Had I not had the curiosity to try something out of my comfort zone, I would have never realized how my life, attitude, life itself could be. I have never been this happy in my entire life. And yes, I'm proud of me. This venture I embarked on, well, I'm aging younger. By my example, I encourage you to do something out of your comfort zone. Take that step forward into something you have an interest in and go where it takes you. It may take you someplace that you hadn't planned on going, which is even better sometimes. You can always go back to what coulda, woulda, shoulda. I challenge you to take that first step. You will be so proud of yourself too. So I would appreciate it if you would go on Amazon and take a look at my book, Heaven Sent, Listening to Your Inner Voice. There's a link that you can buy it if you so choose. And that is, let's see, will it show on here? It probably doesn't. Anyway, it's https / Amazon, or I'm sorry, AMZN dot TO / 3 capital Z, capital G, capital T, capital C, 3, and a small r. So with that being said about my book, I would like to share a story in what I wrote in my book. So just to give you a taste of my style and what's in store. This isn't the best one in here perhaps, but to me, each one is the best one. But this one is chapter 5, and it's Dancing with Dave, a different kind of love. I met Dave at church around 1999. What a friendly, handsome, outgoing, intelligent man. I was attracted to his mind, great manners, and he had the sexiest voice. I was warned not to get involved with him as he was a player. He wasn't. Like so many of us women, men can get used too. He was too nice and made too many poor choices, all the while looking for love. Back in those days, I was single and loved getting people together. So every first Saturday of the month, I had a party at my house. My friends from all walks of life were invited. The parties were themed according to the holiday of the month. Unleashing the imagination was encouraged. Sometimes connections were made. It seemed to me that on different occasions, friends did connect. I remember seeing Dave involved in conversation as he and a lady left my party. How I wished he and I could connect. But alas, I was too shy to encourage him. Fellas and ladies, don't be shy. Go for what you want. Remember, if you always do what you always did, you always get what you always got. If it doesn't work out, at least you're no longer expending energy on wishful thinking. So I'm not sure Dave's age at the time, but I thought he said he was 16. He said he died in the dentist chair, probably from too much Novocaine. He described the other side as so beautiful, he didn't want to come back. We talked about Lionsgate. No, not the movie producing company. I'm still not sure what it is, something woo-woo though. We talked about other beings and past lives. He helped me become more enlightened on all that is happening and why. He was happy to share his thoughts and what he knew. Some people I knew in church that claimed to be in the know didn't share their knowledge, kind of like children. I have a secret, but you can't know it. What a shame. As I was a hungry seeker, I still am, constantly learning more. The almost kiss. Joe, a mutual friend of ours from dancing events, was getting married. I didn't know Dave very well at the time, just that he really fascinated me and I liked him. I knew he was a good dancer and I loved to dance. At the reception, we were dancing a slow dance and I felt the magic between us. We were facing each other and I turned my head to the left, avoiding the kiss that would have happened. We talked about that incident several years later. I admitted I avoided the kiss because I was afraid to get involved with someone again. Then we had the apple in the treetop. One Sunday after church, Dave, Terry, Nancy, and I went to an afternoon dance for the 16th birthday of the Parrot Heads. Poor Dave. Between us three gals, we kept him on the dance floor and had such a blast. We made plans for the coming Friday to dance some more. This time, Terry couldn't make it, but we three had such a good time. I let loose, let my hair down, did a shimmy, just showed my natural, uninhibited self. Knowing Dave for so many years, I knew I was safe with him and he would be sure I got to my car without the moves made on me. During the evening conversation, I stated I was going to Minneapolis for the weekend. Did they want to go? Nancy wasn't able to, but Dave could. So I picked him up on the way. We had such good conversation. At one point, he said he was always interested in me, but I gave him no encouragement. He said I was the apple at the top of the tree, a lot of effort required to pick that apple. There were plenty of apples lower on the branches, ripe for the picking. We laughed that at least he didn't go for the ones on the ground. I remember telling him I knew I was high up there, relatively unavailable, but I was waiting for the man that could see my value and would make the effort to climb up the branches to claim me. That trip solidified our friendship. Oraphotos and hieroglyphics. Oraphotos, have you heard of them? I have had mine taken many times. Once after church, oraphotos were offered. I'll hold this one up. This is what my oraphoto looked like. I love having them done. Of course, I signed up for another. During the shoot, the lady said she saw symbols like hieroglyphics all around me. So old, she didn't know where from. Here is one of the many oraphotos of me. The colors in the orbs all have meaning. Can't see it real well, but right up here is some green. So I know blue and green are healing. And anyhow, there's like 11 orbs in that picture, and they kind of blend together. So a past life regression. Dave and I believed in past lives. We both knew a fellow congregant that did them. So I had one done. Do you believe in them? Ever had one done? This is how mine transpired. Feeling very safe, I began by riding on a cloud. Whenever my time came to journey into the channeling, I came down from the cloud. I saw myself at Roanoke, Virginia, on the East Coast, looking at the village, excuse me, from my vantage point behind the trees. Next, I saw myself on the prairie. Both times, I am an Indian. I now see myself always outdoors, walking through the village of tents with all kinds of symbols painted on them. I am a medicine woman. Walking through the village, I am aware of the activity everyone is doing. I realize the people are preparing for my marriage to the chief's son. Wait for it. It's Dave. A year later, I entered the woods to give birth to a son who in this life was my nephew, Matt. Fast forward, I am now laying inside a tent. I am very aware of the activity in the village. They are preparing for my departure from this world. Finally, I see myself on the elevated wooden platform for my departure from this life to the next. I hear them say, "Goodbye, sweet one." To this day, that is how I want to be cremated. I always thought of Matt as my nephew, best friend, and the son I never had in this life. One time when I spent the night at Dave's after a glorious night of dancing, I leaned back, melting into him, and his hand touched my belly. I felt transported to a time when I was pregnant. During one of our many deep conversations, Dave shared with me that I looked different. My face had changed shape. What? Once I got back home, I had looked in the mirror and I did a double take. Yes, my face had changed shape. I looked like my mother's mother, Oma, my grandmother. loved trees, and they spoke to him. Like my father, Dave loved trees. They spoke to him. I own 20 acres of timber in Iowa. One time when we were walking in it, he went up to one of the trees, touching it. He channeled its message that it felt crowded by the encroaching trees. Mind you, this tree is old. It's the tallest one on the property, over 100 years old. And a few years later, one of the closest trees had fallen over. Problem solved by Mother Nature herself. Dancing with Dave. This is the hardest chapter to write. There are so many emotions running through my mind and heart. It's hard to sift through them in an orderly fashion. For several years, I would go back to Iowa to see my mom every couple of months. Each time, Dave and I would hit the dance floor at the Red Lion. It was a karaoke place, but we danced, and as others did. Dave was well known in the area, being in theater, church, and such a loving man. Everyone knew him. One night, a man asked us how long we've been married, how long we've been dancing. We answered, not married to each other, and dance every couple of months when I come to visit. We danced really well together. We weren't perfect dancers, but we had such fun. We expressed our hearts through movement in the form of dance. I even twerked once. I shocked people by saying we had sex on the dance floor. We moved that well together, and if either of us missed a step or a hand grasp, we laughed and kept on dancing. I was well aware of a room full of spectators and the lust hanging in the air, but I only had eyes for him. Dave's death. One morning, I read a shocking message I received on Facebook. I thought it was a prank. I called a number and heard the voice of a friend. Yes, it was true. Dave died. As I got up from my computer, walking to my husband's office in the adjacent room, I felt and saw bubbles going down my body from head to toe. As they traveled down my body, I felt them bursting as they touched my skin. I saw them, all different sizes, translucent and multicolored. I was very aware of them traveling down my entire body from head to toe, down my legs, into my feet, off my toes, and into the ground. I saw them and felt them. Each pop was electric, like a spark or a pinprick, but not painful, an electrical snap. I'm convinced it was Dave saying his goodbye. I went back to Iowa for his funeral. I needed that. I met his daughter, and we are friends to this day. She gave me a bouquet of flowers from the funeral. They were beautiful. I shared a flower from the bouquet by placing one on the graves of my mom, dad, and nephew, Matt. Dealing with the travel and the shock of my loss that week, I had no idea how drained I was. This story of you and I, Dave, is my tribute to you. I loved you then, and I love you still. We continue to dance as though no one is watching. So that is just one of many stories in here that touched my heart and have meaning. And whether you believe in past life regression or previous, reincarnation, previous lives, it doesn't matter. What matters is how you believe and that you believe. Knowing God, that's all we have to do is know God and accept him and love him, and he loves us, and give gratitude and thanks, appreciate. Please do not live in fear. As a nurse, I know, and a healing touch practitioner for people and animals, fear depletes your energy. It makes you sicker, makes you susceptible to non-benevolent happenings in your life. So with that, I'd like to sign off and have you please purchase my book on Amazon, if you would, please. I'd surely appreciate it. And I think that's it for this time. So enjoyed you being with me. Please read my book and do get rid of the woulda, coulda, shoulda and step into your life and become who you want to be, because I know you can do it because I did it. And I'm so happy, and I want that happiness for you as well. So thank you for joining me on my Common Sense Living podcast, and I'll see you another time, all right? Toodaloo. Thank you for tuning in to my Common Sense Living podcast today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm sure you learned something new. Please leave a kind review and share this episode with a friend. And be sure to subscribe yourself. You'll find me on iTunes, Spotify, and other platforms. And don't forget, we'll be here again next week with another insightful episode of Common Sense Living. I can hardly wait.